100 hours with Nintendo Switch 2. The new console I've been waiting years for. I've been waiting pretty much the whole generation for. It's here. And I spent Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 96, plus I got mine a little early. So 100-hour review of Nintendo Switch 2. I'm beyond excited to share these thoughts with you. I've been baking them and boiling them over the weekend, and I'm going to do my best to stay on track. We're going to cover the system itself, the games and accessories, and then what's next. But this has been a magical 100 hours, and I've played a ton of different games. I've tried out a ton of different stuff. You've seen all like the secrets, the hidden features. I've made mistakes. I had to factory reset my console. I've been there and back with the Switch 2 as a lifelong Nintendo fan and someone that was blown away by the Switch 1 and literally made a YouTube channel out of it. The generation of Switch 1 will forever be something truly magical and special to me. But what's the Switch 2 starting off like? Let me know your impressions, your takes, your feelings, what your first 100 hours have been like, or your first 50 or 25 in the comments down below. Here we go, everyone. 100 hours with Nintendo Switch 2. When I opened this thing, I thought that the system build quality was super impressive. I was like, whoa, Nintendo, they took things to the next level. And my brother made this interesting point, like, why wasn't this what the Switch 1 felt like? And it's like, well, so that they could make it better. They learned, they grew, they improved. And the Switch 2 is just phenomenal. It's phenomenal to play and hold. And I've heard people say, like, they still think it's too uncomfortable, it's a little too heavy. Dude, this Switch 2 is my favorite portable to play, probably of all time. I think I can already establish that. I'm giving it the crown, baby. It's better than my Steam Deck OLED. It's way better than the Switch 1. I think I even prefer it to the Game Boy Advance of yesteryear because the screen is like 18 times the size. This system feels great in hands. It's of supreme build quality. The Joy-Con do not wobble. And I think one of the biggest increases here for me is that I can play portably and not feel like I'm missing out. The Joy-Con sticks, triggers, and size are all improved enough, increased enough, that I don't feel like I'm getting a half experience when I'm playing just with the Joy-Con in portable mode. I've been loving all the games from Mario Kart World, the Cyberpunk 2077, to Kanutsugami, to Pipistrello, and the Cursed Yo-Yo, an indie gem that I decided to give a roll on this thing portably, as well as docked. And I've been floored by the graphics. I made a whole video talking about how like Hogwarts Legacy and Fast Fusion and Fortnite and all these games just look ridiculous. Even the ones that they brought ahead with updates, like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, even a game like Batman Arkham Knight that ran like absolute cat poop on Switch 1, it's doing its thing on Switch 2. Like, it doesn't reinvent the game. It doesn't make it all brand new. But you try to play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on a Switch 1, and then come over to the Switch 2 side and see how you feel. I think Nintendo has reached this pinnacle that I don't know that they've had since maybe the Super Nintendo, where the technology and the creativity are coming together. They're reaching a peak of the curve at the same time. Nintendo is killing it with the game design. They're in a super great place, like I'd say like a golden era with so many of their franchises. And now they have the tech to back it up. They've got HDR, they got 4K, they got DLSS. They're doing both. And I feel like the Nintendo I've known most of my life has been a Nintendo that kind of veered towards the creative at the expense of the technology. And you could even say that the Switch 1 fell into that trap and it grew long in the teeth after years, right? We were like, dude, these games don't look good at all anymore. Nintendo stuff, art style, they're able to capitalize. But the third-party stuff, it's a much weaker version. And I don't feel like that. I want to play every game on this system. I wish that there were more games on this system. I wish that third parties went gung-ho at the launch, and some of them did, but like, dude, Ubisoft should have launched with Star Wars Outlaws. I'd play that game on this. EA should have brought the Jedi Survivor games right away to Switch 2. I would play those immediately. I'm already looking ahead at the release schedule because I just want to use this system more. I want to use this system because the kickstand is so much improved. The last thing was a kickstand. This is a true way to play on the tabletop. And the fact that it can go all the way down at such a low angle, amazing. I think the color scheme is brilliant. I wasn't really sold on that until I picked it up and looked at it and got to hold it, but now I'm loving it, and I'm curious if they're ever going to change it up since the inside of my console literally is the starting colors. I think the screen is beautiful. I come from a Switch OLED. I've had it since launch day, and I think that this screen is just as good or better. Maybe that is not factually right. Maybe you can disprove it with the scientific nature of these two displays. But I'm telling you, me playing Mario Kart World, it's popping, it's pushing, it's bright, it's vivid, it's amazing. So many people out there are trying to downplay the upgrade that the Switch 2 is. They're trying to tell you that it's not as good as people are saying, and I think they're just flat out wrong. I have been blown away at every turn, and that's not something that Nintendo typically does. They'll blow you away with their gameplay, put your hands on the controller, and you feel amazing. But then once you get to certain areas of the system, you're like, okay, well, it's a Nintendo system. And I don't feel like we say that anymore. I feel like we say, like, this is just a powerhouse. This is usurping my Steam Deck. This is usurping my ROG Ally. This is obviously usurping my Switch 1. This system is the true successor to the Switch, and it's not a Switch Pro. I think a lot of people love that train of thought. They love to make a video saying it's just a Switch Pro. They love to make an article saying it's just a Switch Pro. And I'm here to tell you that I think they're wrong. I think this is straight up a Switch 2. And I'll tell you what, if it was a PlayStation, it would be a PlayStation 2. PlayStation doesn't have to come in with a crazy brand new never before seen gimmick to be a true successor. Xbox doesn't either. Nintendo, though, is required to reinvent the wheel in order to be defined as a number 2. This is a number 2 because it does everything better. It's enhanced, it's improved, and its library is going to expand significantly because of the franchises and games it's now capable of playing. Rest assured, when you buy a Switch 2, you are getting the sequel to the Switch. Not the half step, not the mid-cycle upgrade, nothing of the sort. You are getting a Switch 2, a straight up Switch 2, and I am so grateful for that. I love what they did here. Now, the games front, I have a bit more of a roller coaster story because I started off with Mario Kart World like everybody else. And I was enjoying it, having fun. I think Knockout Tour is stressful and amazing and a great move that they probably should have invented last Mario Kart, but I love the game. I felt a little bit of lacking, like, okay, this new console is so awesome, and all I have is Mario Kart World. And there's not really any other exclusives outside of Fast Fusion, so what do you play? What do you do? And then I kind of just let myself explore, okay? I let myself check out Kanutsugami. I let myself check out Cyberpunk 2077. I put on Pipistrello, which is a Switch 1 game, but man, oh man, does this screen make the pixels look perfect. That is a really fun game that I enjoyed tremendously. And yeah, I also liked Fast Fusion. I also really liked Hogwarts Legacy, a game I never had enough time to put fully into back on its original release. Obviously, the Switch 1 version was quite hamstrung. It was impressive that it ran, but it looked poor and it was missing a lot of the detail that made Hogwarts Legacy such a legacy for so many fans. I then fell into this mode where all I want to do is play Switch 2. Laying down on the floor, on the couch, in the chair, just hanging out and playing this system because it feels so good to play. And it's not the novelty of a new handheld because look, I have a Steam Deck. I have a Steam Deck OLED. I have a ROG Ally. I have plenty of Nintendo Switches. And yet this one just is awesome. This one just is my choice. This one just is better. And maybe it is the combination of having Mario Kart World and Cyberpunk 2077 back to back. I don't have to swap out consoles. I don't have to switch up cases. I don't need to bring a Steam Deck and a Switch 2 with me wherever I go because the Switch 2 can just about do it all. I can play Kanutsugami, which is an amazing modern take on a tower defense game, and I can also play Welcome Tour, which, it's Welcome Tour. I feel like by letting myself just enjoy what's there and exploring what's there, I found a lot of gems, and I found games that I'm really loving. Yet, I do think the launch lineup needs a little more oomph. Like, if I had to say one thing about this system, I do wish there was like one more game. It doesn't have to be Nintendo. It doesn't even necessarily have to be new. Like, if there was one more Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, Elden Ring, or like I mentioned, Star Wars Outlaws or Assassin's Creed Shadows, I feel like then I would be like, okay, this is 10 out of 10. I have zero complaints, but I'm still waiting for something else. And maybe part of it is that they haven't dated the game I want most on Switch 2, which is Metroid Prime 4. Obviously, DK Bonanza looks incredible. I'm hoping that their creative twist on the DK formula and kind of like this Mario Odyssey meets Deep Rock Galactic meets Donkey Kong trifecta turns out amazing. I love the new character of Donkey Kong, but like the look ahead, it's a little sparse. And I think Nintendo does need to have a direct to kind of give us an update on what's going to be next. What can we look forward to? What can we get excited about? And then I do hope third parties just bombard us with titles. Like, truly. I don't know if that makes the most business sense, but it makes the most exact sense. Like, I just want to play stuff on the Switch 2. Mario Kart World is a gem. Now, how does it rate eventually long term compared to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe plus all the courses? I don't know. That's not a conversation for today. That's probably something for like a year or two down the road. But speaking of the roads, I love the roads in this game. I love the 24 player count. I love the wider tracks. I think there's much more going on, and you have this different view of the track, this different view of the environments. It feels more like a Mario Kart world. And that's the title of the game. The free roam has been fun, although I'd say it's not something I'm obsessed with. Like, I really, really do like it, but it's not something I feel compelled to play every time. I'd rather go online and hone my racing skills, hone my knockout tour skills, and I do think those are a little bit different. I'm loving unlocking the costumes. I'm so glad they put it in there. I'm loving unlocking different characters. I can't wait to see who they drop for DLC. I think that this Mario Kart is exactly what this Mario Kart should be. I know that some people have issues with like the in-between tracks and the Grand Prix not just allowing you to have traditional 3 laps around these awesome looking new courses, and I do wish that as well. Like, put in a mode where I can just skip the highways and go straight to the tracks, because I want to learn them better. I want to do more than just 1 or 1.5 laps on these tracks. I want to do the full 3 so that I can know the ins and outs. I can master the courses like I did in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But visually, it is stunning. It looks absolutely amazing, and that part, I think, is undeniable. People saying this is just Mario Kart 8 but with new tracks, you're crazy. Just Mario Kart 8 but with 24 players, you're crazy. Mario Kart World takes advantage of the Switch 2 power and looks remarkably better. The level of detail, the vibrancy, the emotion, the absolute animation prowess that Nintendo has put on display here is beautiful. It's a chef's kiss. And Cyberpunk 2077 looks ridiculously good on this platform. I could be crazy, but I swear it looks better than it does on the Steam Deck. I think that the fidelity here on a game like Hogwarts Legacy and Cyberpunk 2077, modern era games that look really good and have a lot of graphical complexity, I think they're brilliant on Switch 2. I find no complaints about the graphics of this system, and that has absolutely impressed me. That might be the thing that's made my head pop the most. Like, dude, they have achieved close enough to current gen visuals that I'm completely satiated. I'm completely satisfied. Like I said, I want to play every game on the Switch 2. I just want more of them. I think if you're looking for a hidden gem, Konotsugami is really good. I think the game looks and runs great on Switch 2. And it's such a fun like homage, but with modern twist. It's something that got overlooked. It's at a budget price, and it's not going to break the bank like Mario Kart World at $80. I think that game is superb. And then let me also throw a call out to Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. If you're looking for something a little more old school, if you're looking for something a little more Zelda-ish, this is a Yo-Yo-vania, they're calling it, where it's borrowing elements from the 2D Legend of Zeldas as well as the 2D Metroids and giving you this challenging but super comical and really endearing, awesome game that controls well and looks sick on the Switch 2 screen. I feel like everything is just stepped up on the Switch 2. We know that so many of the older games are stepped up, and I'm not really a replayer. So while I was blown away that Tears of the Kingdom truly does look like a Miyazaki film in motion on the Switch 2, like that looks insane. The crispness of the line work, the absolute stunning nature of the contrasting colors, it really brought me a moment of awe. I talked about it in the graphics video. Like, I had this moment of just like, wow, this must be what like a monk feels like. This must be what like someone without anxiety feels like, because I'm just serene seeing what's on the screen. I am just so relaxed experiencing Tears of the Kingdom in this truly new way. Is it new enough for me to replay the game? Probably not, but it really is remarkable that for those who missed out on certain titles, that do want to replay games, that do want to finish games, that do get the game newly, they can enjoy these in a much better way. And then we have the whole conversation of like, is this worthwhile depending on what games you want and don't want? And early on, I really felt like if you're not a huge Mario Kart World person, you could wait. And look, you can wait for anything, right? People can be patient. People can wait for things to become easier to get, to save up more money, to have a bigger games library. But I'm firmly of the belief right now that whether you can wait or should wait, if you don't wait, you will enjoy it. This system is truly a magic maker. It is a smile inducer. And as a lifelong Nintendo fan, I can't believe we're here. I played the NES. I played the Super Nintendo. I got an N64 from Best Buy where my uncle worked on launch day. I know how these consoles go. I camped out for the GameCube with my dad. I did it for the Wii. I did it for the Wii U. And then I was lucky enough to get sent a Switch by Nintendo. This time with the Switch 2, I got lucky that it got delivered early. been through a lot of Nintendo launches, handhelds too, and this one just, I don't know, I feel so good about where Nintendo's at. Like I said, I think they've reached this beautiful, perfect match where the technology and the power is meeting up with what they do best. I think they've perfected this system. I think the Switch 2 is what the Switch 1 always dreamed to be. In a lot of ways, it does feel kind of like the clamshell DS versus the DSi or the eventual DS Lite. Like, hey, this is the realization of what this product was meant to be and could be. It's so darn good and it's so fun. And I just want to play more. It's 100 hours and like, I still need more. I need to carve out more time for all these games. We got releases, but I paused Doom the Dark Ages on my Xbox One X. I paused Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on my PS5. I got codes for upcoming games to check out and I can't because the Switch 2 is drawing all my attention. It is just so good to play. I love how it feels. I have smaller hands. The controllers feel perfect to me. And speaking of controllers, let's go to the accessories for a bit. The Pro Controller 2 is super good. The Pro Controller 2 is better than the Pro Controller 1. The Pro Controller 2 is still something that I don't feel is 100% necessary. I've seen a lot of people say, like, dude, this is their favorite part. It's the best controller Nintendo has ever made, and it might be. It's got super smooth sticks. Like, they feel premium. It's got a really interesting finish that, in practice, is a lot better than what I thought it would be. It's got the paddles in the back if you want to customize buttons. It's got improved triggers, better button presses, and it's got a nice D-pad. It's a very good controller, but also has a headphone jack. And yet, I would rather have another game. Maybe that's just me, but I think the Joy-Con 2 are improved so much that I'm fine to play that way. Like, will I play Pro Controller with the TV? Yes, I will. I won't pick the Joy-Con over the Pro Controller, but I'd be fine with my Pro Controller from Switch 1. The genius nature here is that all those controllers connect and work with your Switch 2. So if you have a Pro Controller already built up, saved up, kept from the last console, you can just use that. And I recommend that highly. The one thing I do think you're going to need almost immediately is a memory card. I was really convinced I wouldn't need a microSD Express card until later on. I really was. But then I quickly found out, nope, Zach, you're wrong. I think I put like 12 games on there, 11 games on there, and Nintendo is great at bundling their titles small. Like Mario Kart World's a totally reasonable size. But even some of the games from Switch 1, they start to balloon out. 14 gigs, 20 gigs, 18 gigs, 24 gigs. And before I knew it, it told me I had 200 megabytes remaining. And I was like, oh crap, I don't even have an Express card. Because remember, you need that microSD Express. It has to say Express. It can't be anything else. And I'm going to need one quick because I don't have space. I had to delete some things that I was messing around with, older games. And, you know, I've cleared out space for now, but it's going to be something that I bump into almost immediately once again when something new comes out. And that to me is like, man, I do wish that they would have invested a little heavier and put 512 gigabytes. Like, I'm lucky that I'm able to get these games. I'm lucky that I'm able to play these games. I'm lucky that I got sent some codes for games. And it's really cool to be able to have that variety. It's also not enough storage. I don't think that's weird to say. I think that's totally fine to say. And it is one of the only check marks against this system that I'd say is like, I wish it had more storage. I wish it had more storage. And I think most players are going to need a memory card. And you're going to need one of these special memory cards that are kind of hard to find right now. And you don't have a lot of options. Hopefully that'll rectify itself and get better and easier as time goes on. Maybe if you're chill with just playing a few games on there and you don't want to download and test out a bunch and try out a bunch and you don't have like random gamer anxiety like I do where I never know what to play and I'm always jumping from game to game, then you'll be totally fine. But I do think a memory card is going to be needed sooner than you think. And I personally would prioritize a memory card over the Pro Controller 2. Now, the battery life for me, it's notably less than the Switch 1. I totally acknowledge that. But it hasn't been a problem. Now, I'm not someone that commutes to work. I'm not someone that rides the train or the bus. I don't have to be traveling or away from an outlet all that often. So for me, it's fine to get my session in, play my 2 to 4 hours, and then move it to the charger. But I was surprised that it does drain quickly. And when you connect it with the dock, it takes time to get back up there. I remembered like, hey, this isn't your iPhone. It's not going to fast charge up to 50% in 15 minutes. It's going to take some time. But for me, it has not limited the gameplay yet. I think battery life is one of those things that is very easy to complain about and can quickly seem like a super negative aspect of a handheld console. But how often are you truly not near a plug? Is it annoying to have to plug your system in? Yes. Is it experience ruining? No. Is it annoying that you have to monitor your battery life? Yes. Is it something that makes me not want to play this system or takes away from it? No. If anything, it makes me enjoy the system more because it's like, ooh, I need this thing charged back up, baby. I want to pull it out again. I want to get ready to go. You feel me? Like you have that experience where you just want this thing to charge so you can go again, another session, another game, another experience, another level. I think the battery life is definitely one of the weaker elements, but for me, it's not a negative because I'm almost always near a plug. Even in an airport, I have plenty of chance to plug that thing in, and the likelihood that I play a session that's in a single session longer than 4 hours is very low. It's very low. Even without like a portable charger or charging case, I still think I'm going to be totally fine. Will I eventually learn to regret this comment and feel like the battery life is low? I might. But I never had battery issues with the Switch 1. And I remember people early on with the Switch 1 were like, dude, that battery life, it could be better. When you're playing Breath of the Wild, it's not as good as it could be. And the Switch 2 is less than that. But I guess coming from a Steam Deck for a while and also having a ROG Ally, I'm used to these things. If they're going to give you the goods, right? If they're going to output great graphics, if they're going to output fantastic TV-worthy gameplay, you're going to have to make a trade somewhere. And battery life is the trade that they almost always make. I think the form factor of the Switch 2 is so perfect that I'm glad they didn't put in a bigger battery. I'm glad they didn't make this thing any heavier because as is, I love the Switch 2. I absolutely am obsessed with the Switch 2. I love it and it blew me away. It's Nintendo doing what Nintendo don't. And that might sound weird because they've been very successful the last 8 years, but they kind of just made a much better system and they didn't get caught up on the bells and whistles. They didn't get carried away with the gimmicks. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel or go completely the opposite direction. They made the true successor to the Nintendo Switch, one of, if not their greatest consoles of all time. They made a premium Nintendo Switch, where premium means outsides and insides. It's the way it feels, it's the way it's built, it's the way it's built internally. It's the hardware as well. And they made a sequel console that has a very worthy launch game. And I can't wait to see more. Like, think about the Switch 2 when there's 10 first-party games. Think about the Switch 2 when there's 30 first-party games. Right now, there are 2 first-party games, and I'm going to say 1.25 because Welcome Tour, it's more of a tour, and it's $10 when it should be backed in. There's really one Mario Kart World first-party game, and that number is going to multiply quickly with DK Bonanza, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon Legends ZA. It's going to just build and build. And in a year's time, we're going to have more games to play than we can count, and that is just so exciting. If I look ahead to the future of Switch 2, I think we are so locked in. I think they picked the perfect power point where it's not egregiously expensive, right? It's still a pricey console, but it's not $700. They didn't try to make this have every latest bell and whistle, but they did just enough. They got it in a good spot where I don't think we're going to feel like it's long in the tooth as we did with the Switch 1 quite quickly. The fact that it can run these games that are very impressive on other consoles immediately is such a good sign. I can play Cyberpunk 2077, Hogwarts Legacy, soon Star Wars Outlaws, and these games are looking very good. As long as games like Final Fantasy VII and Elden Ring look awesome on the Switch 2, as long as new releases that eventually come out look awesome on the Switch 2, we are golden. I think the future is just start announcing stuff. Summer Game Fest was not really a fest if you were a Nintendo Switch 2 owner, because nearly none of those games had the Switch 2 logo. And I've seen people start to freak out, but I think the reason is Nintendo is just so darn silly, they want to announce it themselves. They feel like these moments can be direct moments. They can let you know that this game that, yes, is multi-platform, is also coming to Switch 2. They can let you know that Call of Duty is coming to Switch 2. They can let you know that Gears of War is coming to Switch 2. They can let you know that all these titles that missed the Switch 2 logo, and you might have been saying, like, what the heck is going on? I thought this system was uber popular. I truly believe, and we'll check on this later, you can hold me to it, I truly believe Nintendo just wants it for themselves. They want to announce that they've got Assassin's Creed Shadows coming to Switch 2. They want to announce that they've got Call of Duty and many of these other games coming to Switch 2. They want to have their own segment, they want to have their own show, they want to control the messaging, and for whatever reason, they want to do it their way. But I also want to see more games get Switch 2 upgrades. I'd love if Mortal Kombat 1 got a Switch 2 upgrade, because that game, while cool on the Switch 1, it's not great. It could look so much better. And seeing Street Fighter 6, I'm like, dude, do that for Mortal Kombat 1. I would absolutely get that ASAP. I'd love to see upgrades that do cost in the $3 to $10 range, which is where Hogwarts Legacy fell and where Fantasy Life I fell. Those are reasonable prices to upgrade. What I don't really want is a ton of Nintendo Switch 2 editions. Despite me being impressed as all heck with the way Tears of the Kingdom looks on the new console, I don't personally want to rehash those things. My only concern for the Switch 2's future is how heavily does Nintendo rely on the past? And I hope that they don't. While they're totally fine to add in GameCube releases and continue supporting the Switch 1, I don't want to see Switch 2 editions become the monthly release. Like Mario Party Jamboree seems to be a monthly release, Kirby might be a monthly release, meaning that is the Nintendo first-party game for the month. And I want more than that. I want more. I'm hungry for Switch 2 games, and I don't mean Switch 1 games I already played that look a little better. Sell me an upgrade pack as an optional choice, but don't make it something that is taking up a major spot on your calendar. We haven't even got to 3D Mario yet. We haven't got to Smash Brothers or Animal Crossing. The joy is that there's so many amazing reveals and first-time playing on the Switch 2 moments for basically every Nintendo franchise. Everyone except Mario Kart has yet to see the light of day, and that's insane. Remember how many moments you had where you're like, dude, this game is so cool. This is so much fun. I love playing it with my friends. I love playing it by myself. I'm on my Switch. I'm playing it portably at grandma's, at the doctor, in the bathroom, in the bed, by the pool, on the TV. And you had those moments with all these games that you came to know and love over lesser hardware. And now they're going to get their chance to debut with the creativity and the power that they deserve. The 4K, 60 FPS, modern era graphics that they deserve. And that just has me floored. We're going to get to live a new 3D Mario, a new 3D Zelda, a new Smash Brothers. So many games are going to be 4K 60. So many games are going to be with the power they deserve. So many games are going to be, now the developers can do this and more. Think about how Animal Crossing couldn't even load all your items. Now, Animal Crossing on Switch 2 is going to absolutely break the world. I'm so excited for the future of this system, and I think it's in such a good spot with a launch week that has absolutely filled me with so many hours of great gameplay, amazing graphics, and an insanely cool system to hold. One that feels comfortable, one that feels premium, and one that absolutely earns its $450 price tag. I give the Switch 2 launch an absolute 9.8 out of 10. I think this console is nearly perfect, and it's just getting started. It's only going to get better as time goes on. It loses 0.2 points for the storage. I wish they just included a little bit more. I kind of do wish there was a few more third-party games and themes. I'm going to hold you to it, Switch. Where are the themes? Themes would have gained you 0.1 points. And themes don't impact my experience, but it's just another one of those novelty things that I think will make this system grow even bigger, be even better. And just wait, 3 or 4 years down the line, this Switch 2 is going to be even a supreme version of itself. And then they're going to release the iterations, which they're going to get me because a better Switch 2, like how do you do that? And if they figure it out, we are so in trouble wallet-wise. But I love the Switch 2, and I'm so glad that I got to experience the launch weekend with you. I hope you all had a ton of fun with the different videos I posted, the tips and tricks, the warnings and the mistakes I made, the gameplay and the graphics. It's been a joy and a blast, and we're only just beginning. So thank you for being a part of it. Thank you, Nintendo, for making this Switch 2 so awesome. Thanks for doing exactly what I wanted, which is an awesome Switch. It is a sequel. It is a 2. If Sony can do it, so can Nintendo, and they did. So let me know your take in the comments down below. What would you rank the Switch 2 after its first 100 hours and its launch period? In the comments down below. Until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive. Stay playing your Switch 2, and if you don't have one yet, you're in for some incredible moments once you do. In the meantime, though, thanks again for watching. SwitchForce out.